Maharishkaa. I'm very glad to be here, Maya. I'm feeling very intense, but at the same time, I'm feeling in a kind of state of surrender. The pain, the knot I'm feeling here, I can bear it. It doesn't bother me. So I feel in a different state, and I'm not used to be to that state. Also, Andrew Cohen, I don't know if you are aware of, passed away on the 25th of March, and I went through a roller coaster of emotions. But since he passed, I'm very grateful to have met Andrew, because Andrew brought me to you. And I don't regret at all my experience with EnlightenNext. I was naive, and thanks God for that. I just wanted you to tell me where you see me at. Thank you.
Yes, Christopher. I'm very well aware of Andrew Cohen. He was a pioneer in the field of Enlightenment experiments, and it peaked in the mid-90s. He had an impact on many people. He also came to Tiruvannamalai and had asked for a private meeting with me, which also happened. It was a very pleasant meeting. Yes, when he passed away, I did get information about it. And many people who were his students and left him also because he was not exactly the ideal that they had expected, did go through a roller coaster ride when they heard about his having passed away. The point is that Andrew Cohen was well-meaning fundamentally. He was not a man who willed ill for anyone, but he lost the plot, as one would say, because he went into these consciousness states which are outside the system. In other words, he didn't stay present here and now, but went into meditative states that took him into cosmic experiences, which then took him away from the material reality of his environment, and he was unable to actually sense and feel the emotional needs of his students, because he was so far away from the emotional, beyond the conceptual, beyond the transformative, beyond the unity consciousness, even beyond the pluriform state, out of the body, in samadhi states, and detached from the reality of what was actually going on around him, focused on an ideal which was sort of futuristic, but in an evolutionary sense. And he even called it evolutionary enlightenment. But there is no such thing as evolution in the way it is understood by that movement or other similar movements. It's not a devolution and evolution of consciousness that happens in the first place. So these are all brilliant ideas, but they don't hold in the absolute reality of living in this body on this planet. And there are a lot also conceptual gymnastical exercises. So because he was not in touch with what happened around him, his students rose up in revolt and actually toppled him from his pedestal on which he had partly put himself. As a spiritual guide, whoever puts you on a pedestal, you better have both your feet on the earth and never allow that to happen in your own thinking. And that's where the problem came. And so he was not able to stand up to the egos of his students and say, no, I'm here, I'll do what I have to do. Take it or leave it. He wasn't able to do that because he got convinced of his own greatness, and that's not a space from which to operate when you are a spiritual guide. You have to see yourself and all your own shortcomings first before you see the shortcomings of everyone else around you. And whatever the students think of you, don't let it fool you. That is something which he didn't get. I do have to also say one thing, that in that conversation which I had with him, I was talking about descending into the system. I said, the consciousness in your case has exited the system and now you have to descend into the system. And he started to reintegrate rather than descend into the system. And I started to also use that word, reintegrate, thanks to him. I use both, descend as well as reintegrate. So a great man, intense and sincere to the extent that his ego allowed him to be. Also someone who thought he doesn't have ego, which is a big mistake to start with. You know, in the Guru Vada tradition, you just do not go against what the Guru says, and his Guru never told him to become a Guru. So unless the Guru says you can become a Guru, it's not a good idea to take that up, because most of the time these kind of accidents then happen. But I'm sure he's in a good space, and he did do a lot to open up the idea of meditation, the idea of enlightenment. These are also concepts which are important for a spiritual seeker to hear about, at least. As far as you are concerned, what you are going through and what you are feeling, when you are in surrender, almost everything can be borne. And the longer you bear it, the easier is the dissolution of that ball of energy that collects sometimes in different parts of the body. So just stay with the sadhana, stay with the sadhana. I mean, you've changed dramatically in the last couple of years since you've taken up this sadhana, and it's a big joy to see you, to see the change actually. You're on a good track, and it's also the time to forgive Andrew and understand that he was as much of flesh and blood as everyone else is. And so he did make mistakes, some very big ones. But I do feel that there was a part of him that did realize that. I had a few years before said to somebody that they should contact him and tell him to come and meet me, because I knew what was going to come and I wanted to warn him about it. But that message never reached him, and perhaps he wouldn't have responded had it reached him. But yes, that's how things are, and it's all going good with you. So, yes.
Namaskar, Maya.
Namaskar, dear.
You are invited to a live online satsang with Maharishikaa Preeti this Sunday. To know more, click the link in the description below.